I'm teacher and comedian Joe Dombrowski. Or am I comedian and teacher Joe Dombrowski? I don't even know. But here, I'll tell you the story and you decide. Now, one story that's told about me is that I was just a wholesome teacher who had a video accidentally go viral and ended up on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Now, that is true, and I'm very proud of it. But the story that has yet to be told is the fact that I was actually a stand-up comedian when I was in 3rd grade, when I was 8 years old for the talent show at my school. Now, all I was doing was actually stealing jokes from a local magician, but that's besides the point. Anyway. Now, what I didn't realize is that eventually I would be able to marry these two loves of mine together to be one. I'm a teacher and I'm a comedian, and basically I'm just performing all the time, because what I didn't realize at that time was the classroom could be my stage. See? Is this a classroom or is it a stage? We don't actually know. But what I can tell you is that going into the comedy clubs and performing was making me a better teacher. And going to the classroom being heckled by 5-year-olds was making me a better performer. Both things that I was doing was just actually making me better at two things that I loved. Now, I didn't know what I was getting into when they told me I was teaching kindergarten. I had never done it before. And as I like to call it, planet kindergarten, because it's like every day I walk into this unknown world where they all know what's going on. I don't have a clue. But I go into there and I realize they have their very own specific kinder culture. That's gay for culture. Their very own kinder culture. And in kinder culture, it's just appropriate to think words and just say them. Just let them fly out of your throat. They say the most unexpected things. I had a kid on the first day of school. The first thing I did was get in front of them all and I did a little question and answer so they could know who this tall, probably drunk adult is in their classroom. And they would run up to me and just say things. One kid just goes, "What kind of person are you?" I don't know. But thank you for this midlife crisis. Tiny Brene Brown, have a seat. Another girl just ran up to me. She didn't even ask a question. She just said, "You sound like a girl." It's like, you sound like something that I shouldn't say unless I want to lose my job. And for your information, I don't sound like a girl. I sound like a woman. More specifically, Aretha Franklin with a cold, so you better RESPECTME. Oh, I didn't know what I was getting into with that one. Like, I was not expecting to get the spirit of Whitney Houston reincarnated into the body of a 5-year-old, and she was not expecting to get the gay teacher. Now let me tell you something about the gay teacher. Try me. It will not end cute, okay? Okay. Now, before I left for tour, which was the last day of school, ironically, I dyed my hair, and the class was like, "Why did you do that?" I was like, "Oh, I wanted to look a little bit younger." She said, "What are you gonna do about your face?" Now people were telling me, you can't be a comedian and be a teacher. And I was making my own path, just climbing my way to the top, whichever way I knew how. And when I started to put these two things together, I put together that all my classroom was another opportunity for me to present my comedy to my students and create this space where school is now a place where students want to be, not where they have to be. When I changed that mindset, true learning really started to happen. Let me tell you a story about that. So, change in education happens when there's a problem. And the problem at the time is that my students' handwriting looked a little bit more like hieroglyphics. Now, to avoid cataracts by the time I was 25, I knew that I had to change something that was going on. "Hello, Mr. Obese Squirrel. How are you? Ow! What the heck? Goodbye. No, none of that for you." Now, if you ask any classroom, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's at least going to be one person in that room who says, "A YouTuber." Now, that's fine. These YouTubers are making, I don't know, 6 figures a month sometimes, which truly makes my teacher salary cry. But it's a great career path if we can harness the students into realizing what is their expertise and how can they relate that to the world. If I ever saw a rabbit this big, I would run because rabbits should not be this big. So to bring YouTube into my classroom was really a way that I knew that I could connect back to them. Now, bringing their handwriting into YouTube was the hard part. Now, as I was walking down the first grade hallway, all of their writing samples were posted on the wall, and I was reading their writing to myself. Now, I had a phone that had a camera and I had a voice that worked most of the time, so I decided that I would just start filming their writing as I was walking down the hallway. And I just uploaded it to YouTube from my phone, a tool that almost every teacher has. And then I brought that into the classroom with a little series I like to call First Grade Writing Verbatim. Now, I knew that my classroom would be so excited to have YouTube playing while we were learning. However, I wasn't prepared for them to go absolutely insane when I told them that we would be watching a YouTube series that day. They were up screaming, choking around. I couldn't get them back. Now, I needed to make a strong hook to get them invested in the material. So I stopped the whole thing and I said, "Excuse me. The level of disrespect in this classroom right now is through the roof. We'll try this again in 2 weeks." And I did. I made them wait 2 weeks. And they waited 2 full weeks until we came back and tried it again. Now, when 2 weeks came around, I said to the kids, "Do you remember when we were going to watch a YouTube series? Do you think you guys could handle it now?" They just nodded their heads and walked to the classroom in perfect silence, except for one kid who wasn't there that week. He stood up and was like, "Yes!" And everyone quickly reminded him to shut up. And then he slowly fell in a line and came back too. I have the whole class at my feet. They're looking at me ready to learn. And I knew I had them. Ahoy! So I said, "Okay, you guys, you know how you're writing sometimes I'm unable to read? Well, I found a YouTube series called First Grade Writing Verbatim that I think is going to help you realize what's happening in my brain as I'm reading your writing." So here it is. I have it for you. This is episode 1 of First Grade Writing Verbatim.
Plus bonat GM sim with pasef yo do not or your for ye form year ML. Don't eat me, please, because I am piekiak and it's going to be cut off my fre because I am not Thanksgiving food from piekiak. Pot eat me, I will eat you before you eat me, Sidlin. Do not eat me, I am priceless. How bust not what to be eaten from priceless? It will be too hard to preach a boot from boot. Elle a fait une pelle Lord. +8 mate, I am Balurenu. Why would you eat me, love Balurenu? +eat me, I am a sweet slope, love Peelgree, from Peelgree.
Now, I was trying to hold back my laughter at the time, and you might be laughing too, but the students in front of me were dead silent. They were blown away by the fact that I brought YouTube into the classroom and called them out on their work. I asked them, "Why do you think I showed this to you guys?" And all of their hands went up. Now, I called on Rebecca, and I don't know why, because Rebecca is that student that when her hand goes up, your teacher brain goes, "Oh God, is this how I lose my job?" So I had no idea what was going to fly out of her mouth. She looked at me and she said, "Mr. D, I think you showed this to us because it's actually symbolism," word of the week. And what it's symbolizing is the fact that our writing is subpar, other word of the week. Now, I couldn't believe it. I knew that learning had happened. I hooked them, I got them engaged, I got them invested, and it was changing. So I sent them all off to do their writing, and they came back for their writing conferences, and I'd give them a little look if it still needed improvement, and they'd run back to their seat, fix it, and bring it back. Now, was it perfect? No, that's not realistic. But was it better? Yes. And that's when I knew that making this simple change of bringing technology into the classroom and connecting to the students by meeting them where they're at would truly make school a place where they want to be, not where they have to be. So I kept going, I kept rolling, and I would do this more often in the classroom.
Hey, little turtle, I wish there was water in there for you so you could live and survive and be cute.
Now, I tell this story on stage too when I'm on tour, and teachers love to hear about it. Because right now, teacher morale is at an all-time low. It's true. Teachers are going into their classroom every single day with so much uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen that day, that week, that month, or the rest of the school year. And I can feel it when teachers come into the theaters to watch the show. Their shoulders are tense. And then I start to give them medicine through the form of laughter. And I watch their shoulders drop and they relax. Their shoulders relax and they're ready to conquer a new day. Now this brings me back to my original point. Change happens when there's a problem. And change is actually a ripple effect. And I urge every single person watching this right now to be the stone. Thank you.